everybody, welcome to Cake Burger. My name is Steve.
And I'm Mike. I did it again. Just for you guys.
I just frame it. You know what? Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed of the fact that you're a great.
I'm just gonna do it every time. Like,
Yeah,
and you just gotta put like some magic things in. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think you and Elizabeth Olsen are probably the greatest hand actors I know.
well, thank you.
Yes, that's high praise.
I'm knocking everything down over here. I'm so excited about my high praise, and getting this thing to go back up on 3 legs isn't the easiest thing in the world. But
that's what she said.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we got a special episode today. We're doing our review show before this, but right now what we wanted to do, obviously, Amazing Spider-Man number 50 came out today. Not to be confused with Milestone 850, which was actually issue 49. Yeah. Goddamn Marvel! But there's a big reveal of this issue right now, and me and Mike, we're gonna unpack it. As far as the identity of Kindred supposedly get revealed right now. So me and Mike are gonna put on our private eye dick caps on. We're gonna be 2 dicks, really kind of like penetrating this issue right now.
Yeah, me at dick and penetrating.
Yes. You sound like all the other frat boys in my life. So anyway, obviously, without further ado, Amazing Spider-Man number 50 by Nick Spencer and the triumphant return of Patrick Gleason after the exit.
Finally.
Yep. It was revealed the secret identity of Kindred is Norman Osborn's son at the end of this right now. And that's an important thing we're going to mention right now, that Norman Osborn calls him his son right now. Mike, so it appears right now that it's Harry Osborn, something that I believe I called very early on, So
yeah, it is a lot to unpack because there was so many, I thought, hoping that I would have been right, that because it might have been Peter's conscience and the decaying Doc Ock's body, which he had all the memories.
Yeah.
And then I thought it might have been in this story, this part, well, you guys know we just revealed it. It's Harry Osborn, Harry Osborn. What threw me off, because me and Steve were texting about it last night. Like, hey, did you read it? Did you read it? I'm like, no, not yet. And I mentioned to him I thought it was Gwen Stacy at one point, because there's one point where Kindred is digging up a grave.
You're not the only.
It's an older man. I thought, oh shit, this might be the Doc Ock with Peter's conscience digging up Uncle Ben's grave, because you saw white hair.
Well, the fact that he digs up in this issue George Stacy's grave and Gwen Stacy's grave right now, that's something else.
That's where I thought it might have been Gwen, because I was all over the place. I thought it was Gwen digging up her father's grave, because she's just like, we're gonna get all the family together. So that's when I thought, okay, this is gonna be Gwen.
That aspect of this might be a little bit of a bait and switch that Nick Spencer is pulling right now. It may not be as obvious as we think it is.
But then then it happened again. He actually revealed it. Let me dig through the issue real quick, because I got it right here. Nice thick issue. See if I can find it. That Norman Osborn says he calls him a weakling. This is before, so there's a lot that happened in this issue. So before he gets cleansed, that's another big reveal for you fine folks, that he calls the Kindred a weakling, just like he called his son a screw up, a weakling. So that's when I kind of figured, okay, now it might be Harry.
This is not the first time he's done this either. He did the same thing in the Absolute Carnage crossover too, where Norman was locked up in the Ravencroft. He was possessed by Cletus Cassidy, but in brief moments of being lucid, he kind of made mention of Kindred being a weakling and kind of talked a lot of shit to Kindred. That's how for me, that clinched it. I knew it was Harry Osborn, maybe. And then honestly, when Marvel released that promo art of the dinner table, set a place or whatever, that was an obvious callback to the Spectacular Spider-Man issue where Harry Osborn had the dinner set up with Liz Allen and his son Normie and that kind of thing. So at that point, I knew for sure it could be Harry Osborn. But as I've been talking to people on Facebook, and I have also I'm right now I've moved from 100% sure to 95% sure that it's Harry Osborn. And you may be saying to yourself, like, but Steve, you saw the picture of him. How can you not know it's Harry Osborn? And the fact that Norman never says that it's Harry. Norman Osborn says it's my son. And we both know that Norman has more than one son right now, which the other one is Gabriel Stacy, who is
true, yeah.
the ill-imagined child of Gwen Stacy. and Norman Osborn during the abysmal Sins Past storyline, which, given last issue, we know Nick Spencer is not above mentioning or making callbacks to, because he makes an obvious callback to the Sins Past storyline with Norman and Spider-Gwen.
So apparently that wasn't washed away in Brand New Day. That's something that's still.
It didn't get chapter
They
one.
kind of made it seem like that wasn't in continuity anymore. That was kind of wiped away at the Brand New Day. So it seems like that it is in continuity.
Yep.
Now, so.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah. And a lot of people, I mean, like, and here's the deal with that. Gabriel Stacy, who a lot of people think is dead for some reason, is not dead. He's actually.
That's true. He never died. I don't even think. I think that his sister might have died.
He was his sister died. He was assumed dead at the end of the Sins Past storyline. We end up coming back, and as in an American Son miniseries, where Norman Gabriel was revealed to be jealous of Harry Osborn after Brand New Day, and he adopted the American Son things for Norman's approval. At the end of that storyline, Gabriel ends up getting institutionalized, and we last see him in the room, and he gets a package, and it's the American Son helmet with a letter from Norman, with Norman saying that he loved him and like he missed him, but something he never did for Harry.
Yeah.
That leads me to believe that there's a small percent of a chance this could be Gabriel Stacy. And the fact that we've seen that picture of at the end of issue 50 of Amazing Spider-Man, and it looks like it's Harry Osborn, that doesn't mean it's not those. Besides the Goblin formula, those Norman Brillo pad hair genes are very, very strong. We've seen Normie, where when we first see Normie, he back in the 90s used to have like a regular head of hair, and then towards after the Clone Saga, there's been artist depictions like Luke Ross and John Romita Jr. who gave him that Brillo pad hair. Also in Spider-Girl, Normie goes up, he has that hair, like the Norman Osborn hair. So it's not to say that eventually the hair turns into that Osborn type hair.
I mean, that's a good guess that it could be him, because he also still has a hatred for Peter Parker, and there's probably still that hatred for Norman Osborn deep down. And he does dig up, presumably, if it is him, his mother and his grandfather.
That would make sense. Why? At first, because Harry, why would he dig up Gwen and George Stacy? I mean, because and it makes more sense for Gabriel to dig up his family, his mother and his grandfather, like that. Two of Spider-Man's greatest failures that you can really dig in there.
The question is, if it is him, why didn't he dig up his sister as well?
That's true. Maybe, but honestly, too, it shows that he digs up George Stacy's grave. It doesn't say anything about Gwen's grave in there. So who's to say that's not his? Because his sister in the comic was just like his mother.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that could not even be Gwen. It could be his sister, because in Clone Conspiracy, Gwen's original body was actually dug up by the Jackal. Yeah. So who knows where that body is right now? So that could be why it's Gabriel Stacy. Also, I mean, you may be wondering, why isn't he the Grey Goblin then? Why is he this character Kindred? As we learned from Sins Past, these Gabriel and I forget what his sister's name is. Sarah, I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
Although they're have adult bodies, they're really only maybe at this point 10 years old, like mentally.
Yeah, because they had the Goblin formula kind of
age their bodies up.
Their aging, so to speak.
Yep. So you figure,
so to speak, whatever that.
So you figure at this age, Gabriel Stacy, mentally, is only 13 years old. Yeah. Although he may be able to function as an adult and he'll be smart and split that because of the Goblin formula. And like we all know, your average teenager, we all go through that goth emo phase. So that's maybe why he's all dressed up like Kindred, because he's into his
or it could be that his body is decaying now.
It could be, yeah.
Final revenge.
As we know,
it's kind of opened up a whole new theory for me, because I completely forgot about that character.
In all fairness, I didn't think about it until this morning. It just got dawned on me. Also, I mean, but Harry, I mean, the obvious choice is Harry. It could be Harry, because I mean, Marvel obviously likes to keep it simple. Nick Spencer is known for really kind of making a big swing and then kind of giving a bunt, as seen in Secret Empire. He did kind of the same thing with Captain America. Also, I mean, with Harry, Marvel has this agenda to kind of push Harry as this mastermind. As we both know from reading comics for so long, Harry was the mastermind behind Life Theft, where Peter Parker's parents came back as robots. That was Harry kind of manipulating the Chameleon, or hired the Chameleon to do that. Also, we've learned from Tom DeFalco and Howard Mackie that Harry Osborn was originally supposed to be the mastermind behind the Clone Saga.
Mm.
and that was changed last minute to Norman. So I mean, it would be kind of in keeping with Marvel to kind of like push Harry as this like behind the scenes manipulator.
It
As
wouldn't
far
make sense if at the end of this Harry became the goblin or whatever Harry this is.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of if Norman Osborn is going to be introduced in the MCU as more of this, like how he was in Siege and Dark Reign. It may make sense for him to kind of take a step back from the Goblin persona. So, he was
But
cleansed by
plus,
sin.
he already is going to be stepping back because we don't know how long um, the Sin Eater's cleansing, how long it lasts. And as we've seen that they kind of start to lose their mind
Yep.
afterwards. They want to like, you gotta let me out, or you gotta let me say I'm sorry. You'll let the world know I'm changed. Like we've seen that from the previous villains that were cleansed,
Yep.
that they 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 lose their mind. So it's only a matter of time for Norman Osborn just might lose his mind again and revert back to
They'll
that.
always go back to crazy Norman because he's the
Yeah.
best Norman, really. You may also be saying, but Steve, brand new day, Harry Osborn's walking around. He has a child with a Liz, I think her name, Hollister, who became Menace, something like
Yeah.
that, blah blah blah, who actually turned out to be Norman Osborn, because Norman Osborn just can't stop banging the young people's girlfriends.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what do we know about Kindred? He's Mysterio knows him, and Kingpin knows him, and they know he's from Hell.
Yeah.
He's actually from Hell. Harry Osborn died in Amazing Spider-Man. It was 200. Spectacular Spider-Man 200.
Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah.
So he definitely died. I would guess Harry would go to Hell. And
Well, brand new day, Harry went to
yeah,
hell.
pre-new to Harry. So I mean, and the only reason he came back is because the ruler of Hell, Mephisto, brought him back during One More Day. Where would Mephisto come up with? Why would Mephisto just approach Peter Parker and make this deal to erase his marriage with Mary Jane? Someone who has a vendetta against Peter and someone who is still hung up on Mary Jane, which would be Harry Osborn, who's in Hell with Mephisto. He would come up with the idea like, hey, let's break up. Mary Jane should be with me. Break up Peter Parker, make sure they never existed. Let me come back and do my thing and stuff like that. So I mean, whether Husk is the real Harry or Harry from Brand New Day is also Harry, but kind of just like trotting around like nothing's happening, or maybe it's just a soulless husk of Harry, just kind of keep up appearances.
Yeah.
I mean, and Nick Spencer has made no secret he's kind of revisiting and maybe thinking about retconning One More Day. This could be a callback to one More Day, where it turns out not only was Harry the mastermind behind this whole Kindred thing, but also kind of an influencer with One More Day.
It seems like that I think Marvel in general, or the Spider-Man titles, they do want to bring back, revert the whole Brand New Day, because whether or not they'll erase it completely or just have them get married, it was either in Spectacular or Friendly Neighborhood that Peter was going to propose to Mary Jane, and I think
Friendly Neighborhood, yep.
California or something like that. So, or it might have even been Amazing. I forget what issue it was in, but it seems like they want to bring that back. That's what the fans want, not the 60-year-old fans who are hell bent on Peter still being a fucking college kid or in high school.
Yeah. I mean, the Quesada era, I mean, that was more a Quesada thing. And we know, like, that Axel Alonso was just a yes man for Quesada pretty much.
Yeah.
So I mean, with that regime gone, I think CB Cebulski may be a little more open to kind of reverting that back, especially now since they have a whole other secondary like Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales. They don't really need that young, like, unmarried Peter Parker anymore. If people want that,
if you want that young unmarried Peter Parker, you can just go to Miles Morales. Or
you have the young Spider characters now. So I mean, that could be, honestly, that really upped the ante, which me personally, I've liked Harry Osborn more than Norman Osborn as a Green Goblin anyway.
I feel like they should have kept it that way. As long as it's an Osborn as a Goblin, I don't care which one it is, but it's Harry or Norman.
I mean, for me, Norman Osborn was dead before I was born. So I mean, like, it's for me, Harry Osborn's always been my whole, like, my Green Goblin anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think, it might end up just being Harry Osborn. Nick Spencer maybe taking us for maybe a bait and switch, and he's kind of taking us for a ride. He's definitely kind of like left clues. Like, a lot of people thought it was Gwen Stacy.
He's leaving all these different clues on who it could be. I mean, I don't know where I came up with the theory that it was Peter Parker, and I think I've never heard
you weren't the only one.
To be that corpse.
Yeah.
Of Doc Ock, but the only way that corpse of Doc Ock would be able to remember if he still had Peter's memories or if Peter's consciousness was still in the body.
I talked to other people about this, and like, why that does make sense and it is a theory. Once you start like introducing like alternate timeline souls of like, like people, and you're not even writing a Spider-Man book anymore at this point. You're just writing some.
And I'm kind of sick of the evil clone of Peter type, that they,
Yeah.
There's a clone conspiracy of killing our favorite character, Ben Riley.
Yep.
Actually, this is way out of left field. It's Spider Side.
I was really like, I really hoping when they relaunched the Scarlet Spider comic book, and they had that awful costume where he had like the mouth and stuff like that. I was really hoping it turned out that the redemption for what Dan Slott did to Ben Riley would turn out that it was Spider Side the whole time.
Yeah.
And you could still, I don't know, maybe I never read the Scarlet Spider comic book, so I don't know if you could actually retcon that, but I don't know.
It was all right. It was.
I don't think there's a lot of
back and forth with him trying to save himself and redeem his soul. And if he broke his soul one more time or got recloned one more time, it would be no saving him, and it went back and forth. And
yeah,
it was just a Dan Slott stuck in the Dan Slott Spider-Man.
Poor Peter David always have to deal with other writers' bullshit.
And that's the problem. He had to deal with Dan Slott with his Spider-Man 2089 run because Dan Slott wanted Miguel O'Hara in the present. Yep. And then he had to deal with the Dan Slott bringing back our favorite Spider-Man, and then nope, fuck you. It's not the one you want, but
it's been a ride. I know literally the last episode we did comic reviews on Spider-Man 49, and I said I don't care about who Kindred is anymore, and God damn it, they sucked me back in.
Me too. I can't wait for the next issue. I can't wait for the point ones, because that kind of because. Now that the web warriors, as I like to call them now, kind of like possessed by Kindred.
Yep.
And this is also he goes to go see Doctor Strange.
Yep.
Kind of like a throwback to pre-Brand New Day, during Brand New Day, I should say, or omit whatever one did that awful.
One more day.
Retcon.
One moment in time. Yeah, omit was.
Yeah. There was another retcon of an awful retcon. But anyways.
Damage control.
So it's saying that I don't know if I can save you now because you did something. You released the demon.
Yep.
So that's going to be explained further on in the other issues. So, but
with all the players, I think it's more often than I'm pretty sure it's going to be just Harry Osborn straight up. Maybe not exactly the way I think it's going to be, but I do. There is a lingering doubt that it may be. I'm not gonna take Gabriel Stacey off the board. I think there's a chance, seeing as how last issue went and the things mentioned, I think there's a small chance it could be Gabriel. But I would like to see my boy Harry get his dues, because I mean I do like Harry Osborn. He's one of my favorite characters. All Goblin characters, really. There was actually an issue early on where Mysterio was in a psychiatrist, and that's why I kind of thought, maybe it's Bart Hamilton.
Yeah, we all thought it was Bart Hamilton too at first.
But now thinking about that now, seeing as though Gabriel Stacey's in a mental institution, maybe that's another clue that could be Gabriel Stacey, where he's actually playing the psychiatrist in there because he's in an institution himself and kind of messing with Mysterio. I'd like to see how Kingpin and Mysterio fit into this, because they obviously know who Kindred is. But we'll see. I mean, Spencer, he's a good writer when he's not messed with editorial, and let's see what he does. I don't know.
It could be if Kingpin could have made a deal too, where he's trying to bring back one of his sons. I know the original Rose was his son. I think he's still dead.
No, yeah, that's right.
Or it could be his wife. I think he might be trying to bring back his wife. I think she's
sometimes dead, sometimes alive.
Yeah, who knows? There's such a rich history of that. I kind of forgot that I got to reread it now. I'm kind of ashamed of myself for this. But
does continuity even matter in comics anymore? That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, because I again, the whole Gabriel Stacey thing, I forgot that he was the American Patriot, or whatever the heck his name was. Oh, and that whole storyline was kind of like
it was a mini. It wasn't even in the main book. It was a mini series. So I mean, unless you're like buying everything, I mean, how would you know?
That's the sad thing. I did buy it.
But I think that's gonna do it for this episode. What do you guys think? Who's Kindred? Is it Harry Osborn? Is it somebody else? Give us your theories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. I love that stuff. I love to eat it up, and we'll talk about it. But for now, that's gonna do it for this episode. We're gonna move on to our review episode in another video that you're gonna have to click. You're not gonna have to. You're gonna want to, because you love this content right now. So that's gonna do it for this time, guys. We'll see you next time, and remember to like and subscribe. Bye, guys.
See you in a little bit.
Yeah. And my computer's frozen up. Oh, there it goes.